A new season in parish ministry is starting, and I'm sure like you, everyone wants to have a great year. Whether you're a catechist, volunteer, DRE, youth minister, or ministry leader. Because there's a lot of work that goes into preparing a year. Getting volunteers, making schedules, preparing lessons, getting materials, sending emails, and everything else no one sees you do. But what is the one thing we absolutely have to do if we want to have a great year? I used to be a high school teacher, and I would look at the year and I would think, okay, where do I want my students to be come the summer? And based on that answer, I would then work backwards and plan the units and lessons from there. The decisions I made throughout the year on what they would do, what skill sets and content I would teach them, were all dependent on where I wanted them to be at the end of the year. So the first thing, the thing we need to do when we begin the year in order to have a great year is that we have to start with the end in mind. Where do we want the people we serve to be at the end of the year? And we need to keep that same end in mind as we go about the year. Otherwise, what we plan, the programs, messages, lessons, activities, and events can come across as disjointed. They were nice, but did they get individuals anywhere? Did they cause any kind of real transformation over a period of time? This also means that we have to have the right end in mind. Pope St. Paul VI wrote that evangelization is the church's deepest identity, to share Jesus' saving message and invite individuals to say yes to him in their lives so that they can enjoy eternal life. That's the end game. That's our ultimate end goal. Every ministry, program, formation effort, or group in our parishes should be somehow geared towards evangelizing. We're not another NGO or community center. We as church exist to help people know Jesus and say yes to salvation. We should then be thinking, does what I do help the people I serve to be evangelized? And how does that answer affect how I go about my year? I'll give you an example. Author Everett Fritz uses the example of if your pastor came to you tomorrow and said they were taking away all your responsibilities and paying you double to do just one thing, and that one thing is to make just one lifelong disciple of Jesus, how would you do it? Whenever I've shared Everett's example with people, the things they share that they would do aren't necessarily the same as the things they have come to associate with running, say, a program or teaching a lesson. They tend to approach things much more personally and relationally. They talk more about getting to know someone and building a relationship first, praying with them over simply teaching prayers and sharing their own witness rather than simply communicating content or points. See, it's one thing to teach things about Jesus in the church. It's really another to invite someone to have a relationship with Jesus and to help them care about that relationship. And without either of those, what we do will be harder to really take root. Because once someone says yes to Jesus and cares about that relationship, then they want to be involved. They want to learn. They want to be a part of our church. People don't give until they feel fed. When they're fed, they're willing to give of their time, talent, and treasure because they care. It matters to them. They see the value in it. Similarly, if we want our year to be fruitful, we have to think, how am I going to really feed the people I serve? Because if you feed them, they'll return. So consider this then. If you had to pick just one person in your ministry or small group or faith formation class to form into one lifelong disciple of Jesus, what would you do to make that happen? How would that affect how you planned and went about this year? Would you do anything differently? And what may you have to start or stop doing to help them reach that end? So if you want to have a great year, first things first. You have to begin by starting with the end in mind. Be intentional and purposeful this year. And make sure that you have the right end in mind. Make sure that everything you do works towards helping those you serve build a relationship with Jesus. Do those things and then see how different your year is at the end.